Valiant effort there to try to tie the game, but Trevor,
you pulled out the sad trombone.
I did. It was a very sad trombone. Lots of sad pandas in D.C. Trevor Matich. It shouldn't have even come to that moment where they were trying to tie it in the final seconds, right?
No, it really shouldn't have. The Redskins had a 24-14 lead at halftime, and then collapsed on offense and on defense, and basically on special teams in the second half. It was a complete team
but other than that, Mrs.
half.
Lincoln, how did the Redskins do in the second half?
Yeah, well, yeah. They basically, I mean, they laid an egg the size of New Jersey is what they did.
Yeah. Is there anything good out of yesterday's game? Or I mean, I keep looking at all the the glass half full people saying, well, they're 3-6 now. They were 3-6 last season. Then they went on their tear. Then they won the division. The division is even softer than it was last year. It's no problem. The Redskins will be able to pull it together.
Yeah, well, anything's possible. But right now, I think they'd be better off just trying to win a football game. I mean, the schedule for the next couple of weeks is at Philadelphia and then San Francisco. And then they have Kansas City a couple of weeks after that. Going on a tear right now is not one of the things you want to put in the hope basket. It's put together a competent football game for 4 quarters would be a better start.
All right, so the first half, they look pretty good. The Redskins look pretty good. I mean, they let Adrian Peterson have his way, but other than that, they look pretty good, and they were able to put some points on the board. And then in the second half, it just came to a complete stop. What was the thing that changed at halftime?
Okay, the thing that changed at halftime was the way that the defense of the Vikings was playing. Okay, they wanted to take away RG3 moving, his rollouts, his moving the pocket, his bootlegs, the things that we've talked about all year that are important for the Redskins to do with RG3, the Vikings were terribly afraid of. So what they did was they brought their defensive ends on the edges, running hard upfield to try to take away RG3's movement. And so the Redskins had an easy fix for that. And in the first half, they pulled that fix a couple of times. Because if you try to run your defensive end hard upfield to stop RG3 from getting to the outside,
right,
it means that there are big creases inside.
You've got a lane. That's right.
Be.
Right.
And they ran some traps in there against them, Jared Allen especially, in the first half that hit it every time. Actually, the first drive of the third quarter, they ran that same trap. And then they got away from it. And they stopped doing that. Now, that forced RG3 to stay in the pocket. And and there were other things they could have done. When he comes running upfield like that, cut him down with the fullback. There are little tweaks they could do that they did not do. Well, so instead of rolling out, RG3 stayed in the pocket for the second half almost exclusively, and they sacked him 0 times in the first half, 4 times in the second half, and that's one of the reasons all they managed was a field goal in the second half, even though they scored 24 in the first.
So they found a way to apply pressure to the quarterback, and the quarterback became less effective.
And the Redskins' play calling did not take advantage of what they did.
We return to this theme. Every game, you have come on here and said that the play calling stinks.
That would be Kyle Shanahan's responsibility.
That's Kyle
There's
Shanahan.
only one reason that I would use the word stinks, and that's because the FCC doesn't allow other words.
And we appreciate that.
Right. And so, now, the other thing is, though, the defense, the defense was a different game because you talk about Adrian Peterson, and actually they set up the defense, the Redskins, to stop Adrian Peterson because the quarterback situation for the Vikings pretty much stinks, for lack of a more appropriate word. And so they actually held him to 20 carries, 75 yards, and that's less than 4 yards per carry. That's a really good job.
That's a good accomplishment. I'll give him that.
But the Christian Ponder and Matt Castle, the 2 quarterbacks for the Vikings that would not crack the top 2 for the Redskins, combined to complete 78% of their passes. They didn't have a lot of long ones, but they were so effective and accurate and efficient that they kept those chains moving and got really on a roll in the first half. So give the Redskins defense credit for stopping Adrian Peterson. But then the back seven, the defensive backs that have played so much better in recent weeks, couldn't stop two of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
All right, let's get out of the weeds a little bit, zoom out a little bit here, looking at the rest of the season. There are a lot of guys on Sunday afternoon for the next few weeks who are going to say, no, honey, I'm not going to go out and rake the leaves right now because the Redskins game is on. No, honey, I'm not going to go shovel the walk because the Redskins game is on. Do those long-suffering wives have the right to say, the Redskins are finished, get off your tail, and get out there and rake the leaves?
Actually, I think the husbands will go out and shake the tree, so they have to rake the leaves.
So they're not
They don't
forced
have to watch these wrestlers. And you know what? The husbands are going to be begging the wives to let them go with the wives when the wives go and get their
Christmas
why
shopping,
they might even want to clean their gutters before this is all over.
Because this is really hard to watch because it shouldn't be like it is. The Redskins are a better team than this.
Yeah,
the
they
problem
are.
is they're having breakdowns in all the wrong moments. The special teams are a huge meltdown. They had a botched fake punt, and then penalties on special teams that hurt them. And then the play calling to me is I haven't yet heard an explanation as to why the play calling is like it is. I just haven't heard the explanation.
Well, hold it. I'm glad that you keep bringing this up, and I think you're absolutely right about it. But how long do we stand by and say the play calling stinks, the play calling stinks, the play calling stinks, and not do anything about it?
Well, that's what I want to know. And there may be some fantastic
it's
reason
hard
why
to
the play
replace
calling must stink.
It's hard to replace the offensive coordinator when the offensive coordinator is your son.
Well, a lot of people are talking about that. And the thing is, though, Kyle Shanahan, the son, was very creative last year. I don't see the adjustments and the creativity this year. And again, there may be a reason that I don't know about. I just want to hear the explanation, and I'm not getting it. But keep this in mind, too. Kyle Shanahan, going into the last year of his contract next year, normally NFL coaches don't coach in the last year of their contract. They're either fired or they get an extension.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But if Kyle Shanahan doesn't get an extension by next year, we may be looking at a coaching change.
All right, Trevor Matich.
Not Kyle, I mean Mike Shanahan.
Stirring the pot here.
You say you don't
Mike
mean
Shanahan.
Kyle, you mean Mike.
Head
right,
coach
yeah.
Mike Shanahan.
Wow.
Stirring the pot on WMAL as always. All right, so it's like a mini bye week, 10 days off until the next game. Next up is the Eagles.
Next up is at Philadelphia,
Eagles.
a team that has already thrashed the Redskins.
All right, we will look forward to talking to you on the Friday before that game. Trevor Matich, always good to have you.